Hi friends.
I hope you understand the elements and principles of graphic designing well. If you have any question regarding elements and principles of graphic designing, you can ask freely by commenting. Today's class is also very important because in today's video, we will learn how to use text in design. So watch this video till the end. Typography is basically the art of representing your letters, words, text in visual form and in such a way that it looks legible, readable, and appealing to viewer. Moreover, the main purpose of typography or text in graphic designing is to create a message for your brand or services without the use of any image or illustration. Typography is essential component in any design and especially in web designing. It enhances the beauty of web when it is used in the web design. If text is used well in any design, it helps the reader to understand the message of your brand or service more easily. Typography consists of typeface and font. I will explain these two terms in detail. Typeface is basically entire family of fonts of different fates such as Helvetica, Arial or different ones, while font is basically a member of a typeface. Font is a variation of weights of a typeface while as I have explained that typeface is a family of fonts and different typefaces are available: Arial, Times New Roman, Verdana, and many others. And font is basically Arial regular, Arial italic, Arial bold. Similarly, Helvetica is a typeface, and Helvetica oblique, Helvetica italic, Helvetica regular, Helvetica bold are all the fonts. Consider an example of any family which have name Gujar family. So Gujar family is basically a typeface while the son or daughter in the Gujar family is a member of that family and relatively called font. I hope that you are now well aware with the terms font and typeface. If you have any doubt or any question regarding to font or typeface, you can ask freely by commenting. Next friends, we have types of font. There are two basic types of font: serif fonts and sans serif fonts. These two types are very interesting and very informative. Serifs means lines, and serif fonts are basically those fonts that are used as a body text, and mostly for printing purposes we use serif fonts. You can see here that serifs mean thin and thick strokes while have slightly smaller lines at the edges at the end of their strokes, and serif fonts have thin and thick strokes. You can see that here it is a thin stroke while here it is a thick stroke. Similarly, you can see there are smaller lines at the edges. So serif fonts are basically those fonts that have thin and thick strokes and lines at their edges, while sans serif font is that font which have strokes of even width and there are no lines at their edges. The strokes, the end points of the letters are plain, as you can see here. So this is a sans serif font and this is a serif font. Sans serif font is better for children learning, and for web purposes we mainly use sans serif font. Next friends, serif fonts basically say traditional, established and trustworthy. It means that serif fonts are those fonts that are firstly used in the earlier times. The first letters that were write or used for communication were serif fonts, and in graphic designing serif fonts have an extremely important role. The history of serif fonts gives a people a feeling of elegance, confidence and trustworthy. For example, if you want to make a logo for a company which is serious, established and reputable, and work for many years, then you have to design logo or any other design by using serif fonts. Why? Because serif fonts are related to establishment, seriousness, reputable, trustworthy, as serif fonts say, traditional, established and trustworthy. So suppose you are going to design a logo for that company, or you are redesigning the company of a logo of a company that is established since uh, 2001 or 2010, then you have to use serif fonts because the company is now established, more serious and reputable. And next friends, here you can see that popular serif fonts, we have different popular serif fonts such as Georgia, Times New Roman, Garamond, Baskerville. Remember, these are the typefaces, and if we have Times New Roman, again light, oblique, regular, so it is a member, that is basically a font. So Times New Roman basically is a typeface. Similarly friends, next we have sans serif fonts. As I have said that sans serif fonts are those fonts that have plain stroke, that have even stroke. So sans serif fonts communicate a completely different message as compared to serif fonts. The clean, crispy lines of sans serif fonts are the main reason that are used in graphic designing, in web designing, mainly in web designing, and web designers prefers this style, prefer sans serif fonts for screen use, because on screen sans serif font it is more readable, legible and appealing when displayed on screens. Sans serif fonts gives us a feeling of being casual, informal, friendly and approachable. Next, sans serif fonts say modern, approachable and clean. Here you can see that these are the examples of those brands which are more youthful, which appear more youthful and relatable. So these companies use sans serif fonts. Why? Because sans serif fonts are more appealing to the youth and are more modern, clean and approachable. Facebook logo have used sans serif fonts, Target have used sans serif fonts, Adidas have used sans serif fonts. So if you are going to design a logo or any design that is related to youth or children, then you have to use sans serif fonts in your designs. Moreover, if you are going to design a logo or any other design that company is new, or that company is looking for branding more popularly on screens. Suppose you are going to design another situation, that suppose you are going to design a logo for a company that's target mainly online advertising, then you have to design sans serif fonts, because the sans serif fonts are more legible on screens as compared to printing purposes. For printing purposes we are using serif fonts, while for on screens or digital advertising, then we have to use sans serif fonts. So remember these differences. Next friends, popular sans serif fonts are Helvetica, Proxima Nova, Open Sans and Arial. These are the popular sans serif fonts. Sans serif fonts versus serif fonts, which should you use and when? So here is a description explanation that which should you use and when. For projects which are involving lengthy text such as books, newspapers, mostly magazines, then you have to use serif typefaces, and you can see that in any book, magazine, that mainly the text is the text which is used in books, newspapers is serif typeface. While on the other hand, if you are going to design a logo or any other design, poster, brochure, web design, that is basically remains on screen, then you have to use sans serif fonts. Moreover, when selecting a typeface for young children or anyone just learning to read, sans serif fonts are preferable. And remember friends, Helvetica is the favorite font of mostly graphic designers. Moreover, use font that is easily readable, that looks beautiful to you only. So use font with respect to your design. Moreover, here are the some tips that you should remember while designing anything. Don't overload your brand with too many fonts. Choose fonts that have the right amount of contrast. Moreover, look for a font with multiple weights and styles, and choose the font that exemplifies your brand. So remember these 4 tips in your mind when you are designing logo, brochure, poster, web design, or any other design related to graphic designing. So friends, this is all about our today's video. I hope that now typeface or and font types of fonts are very clear to you. If you have any question, you can ask by commenting. Thank you so much for watching this video.